Yes.
into there, tossed up together for a few minutes.
You're doing it all.
Yes, I'm doing it all. I'm so good at it. For a few minutes. After you've done that, you add your white wine. Let it simmer for 2 or 3 minutes.
Yes.
And then add your water and your bouquet garni on the side, tied up there. Bring it to the boil quickly. The quicker, the better. When it is boiling, adjust your gas or your electric and let it simmer gently for no more than 20 minutes. And that is important.
That's very important.
Because if you let it boil all over and cook it longer, you will have what one called a very fishy
Yes.
stock.
And you skim it.
And you skim it as you go along.
And the beauty of that is that when you sift it, when you passed it through the muslin, which we're going to show, then you get really something which you can reduce and put on ice
So
in
after
little
that,
cube in the deep freeze.
in through the muslin,
I'm going to show you
and that's it. You have a nice stock.
a little. Now, can we have, that's how you go through it. Muslin,
That's it.
and a sieve.
I believe you're going to do your nage now.
No, yes. But
We're going in together?
No, I'm doing it alone, but I like to, you should
And
show
that's the finishing
quickly how the texture is, so it can be even for an aspic, you see.
Yep.
That's when it's cold and it's been in the fridge. It can be reduced and placed into the deep freeze compartment.
That's right.
Well, I've done enough. I've seen you working. I like to show how I'm making my nage now.
Lovely.
As that was so painless for me anyway, I'll do an encore. A nage is something which can be used for shellfish or pushing fish. However, if you're using it for shellfish and you want to have a lovely liquid by reducing it, you've got to remember not to add so much salt. And in fact, you can omit the salt and add it at the last minute. Now, let's have a look at the ingredient which you need for the nage. Onions, leeks, celery stick, carrots, and fenouils. If you're lucky enough, you can have a nice machine, a robot coupe, that slice your vegetable very quickly and save you time. Or then you use a chopping knife, a good chopping knife. Or if you've got a good brother like I've got, well, he's doing it all for you and he's being carried away. That's obvious. I've got enough for 10 times what I'm doing. Now, those veg, when you chop them very finely, slice them, you just add butter into your pan. You heat up a pan, add some butter into it, melt it, add the vegetable one by one, the leeks, the onions, and the fenouils. You've got to stir it gently and let it sweat. Cover for a good 10 minutes. So that's done. So let's say it has been sweated for 10 minutes. It's time to add the vinegar, white wine vinegar, the white wine, the water, little garlic, pepper, which I've wrapped into a muslin, the bouquet garni, and then you just let it boil. Now, when it's on the boiling point, that should take 5 minutes, you let it cook for 10 minutes, and then you've got a delightful nage. Now, a nage is much more delicate than a fish stock, especially since I've been doing that nage, and Albert's been doing the fish stock. Believe me, what I do is always more delicate than what he does. Now, the fish stocks was one thing, the nage is another thing, as I was saying. Now, what you should do is through the sieve goes the nage. And you look at it, very light, very clear, full flavor of the vegetable. That will be a base for a lovely sauce. And in fact, it can be marvelous for pushing the fish, which we filleted a few minutes ago. Egg whiting with breadcrumb and Parmesan cheese. One of the nicest dishes you can do and very simple to prepare and not costly at all. We've got beautiful fish there, which have just been brought from the market. You can see beautifully and fresh, which I'm going to now move as we had a quick look at them and move into the stage that some of them have been already cleaned. We've got 4 other fish there. The fin has been cut there and on the back. And what you want to do is to fillet the fish on both sides. One side has been done. I'm now doing the other side of the fish. We're going to cut the bone near the head and near the tail. So we'll be able to remove the fish bone from the fish, as we want the fish to hold together, and we don't want to get the fillet apart. That's been done. So the knife is used there. Cut it along. Same there. Cut near the head. Along there. That's it. That's whiting fillet. So that's what you should get. Now, that's your fish, how it's been cleaned. Now, the gill has been moved, as I told you. So that's for the whiting, how they should be prepared. Now, I've got 4 there which have been placed into a baking sheet, which has been buttered with a little bit of butter there and placed there onto the baking sheet. Little butter on the top as well. Now, they're ready to go into the oven. What we want to do now is to spread the parmesan and the breadcrumb, which we mix together, and that's what we get. So what you do, you just, first of all, just a little pepper, a little bit of the salt, very little. So what you do, you sprinkle the mixing of the breadcrumb and the parmesan on the top of the whiting evenly, and that is ready to go in the oven. Now I'm going to make the sauce. Here we are. So that's ready. Keep it there for a second. Now the sauce. Now you need few fresh tomatoes, cut in pieces, place into the blender, liquidize it there for a few minutes, then into a pan which you reduce up to around 2/3, so you get a nice puree, fairly strong. Strain it into another pan, and you get that texture, which is a nice, beautiful, strong puree of fresh tomatoes. At that stage, put it back into the heat, and then it's time to use the cream. A little cream, which you add into it. Then, with a whisk, you whisk up your butter, little knob of butter, of which you've got left. And that gives you a sauce, which is a nice light creamy sauce, which you can keep on the bain-marie until you're having your meal. And if it is, but the consistency is, the sauce is a bit thick, then you can always use a bit of fish stock. Just pinch some from Albert a few minutes ago, so I'm all right now. Now the texture, as it's always interesting to see how light and delicate that sauce can be. You can flavor it as well with herbs if you want to. And the tomatoes, it's got a very nice flavor. You don't eat herbs, but if you do want to, you can add a little bit of fresh snipped basil into it. That's add a little touch into the dish, which can be marvelous. Now, whiting should go now in the oven, and they should be there for 7 to 8 minutes in a hot oven.